Wow, what an episode of Survivor Season 40. First, it started off right with a bang when you realize Sandra is quitting. Or not. Yeah, it's funny. It's like, do you consider leaving the Edge of Extinction quitting? And it's like, I really wouldn't. Because you're out of the game and you're quitting. One way or another, you're quitting. But one, you're quitting Survivor, and one, you're quitting, I think, the game. If you know what I mean. But it kind of, it's originally I was like, really, that's kind of lame that you're quitting. But then when you realize, I really, like, there would be like, it would be a miracle if Sandra could win the challenge amongst Boston Rob, amongst Tyson, amongst Parvati and Natalie. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not a far-fetched idea of Sandra quitting, because it's like, I guess she just realized that her chapter in Survivor is done, and I have no problem with it, because it's like you can see where she's coming from, as kind of strange as someone leaving on Survivor Winners at War. I don't know. Would I still consider the queen if she left? Like, it's like one thing fighting it out, and it's a whole other thing when you realize, someone quit. And then she leaves, and like her final lines is like, I'm still the queen. It's like, are you though? Are you though? And then as far as Yul going home, or not going home, sorry, getting voted out and going to the Edge. It's kind of funny, because it's like when you look at the dynamics of nine people got voted out pre-merge. Obviously, one of them will go back in. But out of the 9, all 8 of them, besides Natalie, were all old school players, which I think is fascinating. And I honestly don't think it's a case of they don't know how to play this new school way. I just think it's a case of the speed of which these new school players play at, and how to handle these advantages and whatnot. And the idea that I just think how plans change on a dime is something that these new school players can do. And I think, and also another thing is I just think the old school players are getting way too ahead of themselves. Like, Yul is a perfect example of that. He's playing too new schooly to the point where he gets ahead of his ability. I think that's another thing, because you see him playing around, toying this idea of how do we get the fire token from Wendell and whatnot, and kind of toying around with that idea. But that didn't really work out in that sense. Because it's like, I guess I find it interesting, Michelle and Wendell's relationship, as far as, it seems like they always bicker and argue about each other, but I think when it comes down to voting each other out, they just won't do it. And I feel like is part of it. And I think part of it is really how I think when Wendell's edit was, and that we saw, like, Michelle gave a fire token to Wendell, I think that is that not showy enough that their relationship, it's a better relationship than maybe represented. And I think it's mainly that way because they want Wendell to be kind of the decoy vote. Because again, the show is only a highlight of what's 72 hours of an episode of a 3-day period, in which they want to edit it in a way where going into tribal council, you think it's this guy, but it's really that guy. So it's always like a decoy vote. And it kind of, at what point, but it kind of gets, for me, after seeing so many seasons, you kind of realize, I know where this is going. And so, going into the episode, I really didn't have that much doubt that Yul was going home, because again, I just think Wendell, I think the executive decision was that I think Wendell seemed less mischievous than Yul. I think that was really the end of the day, because when you look at it, yes, Wendell was willing to throw it at any name, for a fire token, but at the same time, Yule wanted to, mischievously vote out Wendell and he to get his fire token on top of, being suspicious about Wendell from the very beginning. And so it's like he kind of put himself out there, and I think that was his biggest problem, was how, not just putting yourself out there with all these crazy ideas, but I think when you're on such a small tribe, you can't be the biggest person in the room, if you know what I mean. Because when there's 4 people, it can be anyone. And it takes 2 people to, at the very least, cause a tie. So it's one of those, interesting, intricate things that you have to realize, is that it's hard to navigate, because someone has to throw out an 8. But when it's 4 people, it'll come back to haunt you, and you just see that so heavily with Yule. Another thing is next week's the merge, and I'm excited. I think especially with the Edge of Extinction, someone's coming back in the game. And I think another fascinating thing is both my fantasy players made it to the merge, Kim and Nick. So here I'm going to tell you a few following predictions. I'm going to predict who will come back in the game. I'm going to predict who will get voted out. Again, I'll go with 95% that I'm wrong. Because it's like, you can't predict anything. In a season of Winners of War, everything goes out the window. And if I were to predict who would be going home, first I'm going to predict who would win the Edge of Extinction Challenge. I'll go Rob, because I think, as we saw, by the way, he got the fact that he just won 3 fire tokens plus the 2 fire tokens he already has. I think he could just stock up on whatever the advantages in the challenge are. But we've seen that the advantages of the challenge is not game-winning challenges. So I think it's part of having a lot of fire tokens, plus he's just a raw beast in the challenges. And but he hasn't been that good at challenges this season. So I think the other kind of honorable mentions I'll give would probably be Natalie and Tyson. I mean, I guess Parvati's good too. So there's a lot of different people who could win. But I'd go Rob. Then voted out first. Honestly, if Rob gets back in the game, because let's assume it's Rob. Let's assume in the 90%, 95% chance that I'm wrong. Let's say Rob gets back in the game. It could be Rob again, but it also could be Wendell or Adam. So I'd go, if I had to pick 3, Rob, Wendell, and Adam would be going home. And I say Rob because that's also my person I'm thinking will win the challenge. So yeah, stay tuned for more videos coming right at you.